my LinkedIn so that I can see that I'm live. Hello, 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 powerful people. Hello, powerful people. Hello, powerful person. So let me just check in. I'm always going to check in to make sure I'm live because I have been known to do a whole live, but I wasn't live. So I just want to make sure I'm live. Give me just a moment. I'm looking for that notification. All right, don't see it yet. Don't see it yet. Let's see here. All right. If I am live and you can hear me, can you just put a comment? Just put a comment in the chat. Just put a comment in the chat. All right. Awesome. So I was just told, yes, I'm live and you can see me. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So hello. Hi, Corinne Keith. Thank you for being here. Malik, Anaya, thank you so much for all of your support and helping me continue to bring every single week CORE for coaches. Anybody remember what CORE stands for? Ooh, yeah, there's a little quiz for you. I know that my team will put what it stands for in the comments. So good to see you. All right, so Corinne said it's good morning. It's good morning for her. Thank you. It's afternoon for me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So who am I? I'm Sophia KC. I am a master certified coach. I slow down on purpose when I say master certified coach because I'm so proud. I am so very proud of that credential. It's the highest level credential that you can receive under the International Coaching Federation. There are only about 2,200 of us. Well, I just saw some colleagues just receive their MCC credentials, so it might be a little bit more, but around 2,200 of us in the world. And part of my mission is to change that statistic. We want more master certified coaches in the world. So thank you so much. I also have the wonderful honor to be the Chief Empowerment Officer, the CEO of ICLI Rising, which is our ICF accredited coach training school. We're so proud. We are CCE accredited, we're level 1 accredited, we're level 2 accredited, and I am working on level 3. Level 3. I'm so excited about having a level 3 coach training program. And what is a level 3 coach training program? It's a program that prepares coaches to be MCCs. So yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here. So this is actually another part. This is part 3 of a conversation that I've been loving having with you, and that is around your zone of genius. Your zone of genius. So a few weeks ago, I talked about the first competence level, if you will. And this is all from a book from Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap. It's a life-changing book for me. If you haven't read it, I strongly encourage you to go get it. So level 1 is the zone of the zone of incompetence, right? That's where you have no business working on that task or that project or pursuing maybe even that career because it is not aligned with your strengths. Then the next level is the zone of competence. And at that level, yeah, you can do it, right? I think I gave an example of me and Canva. Anybody familiar with the Canva app? So can I go on Canva and make graphics and flyers and things like that? Yes, I can. I can do it, but it's not my highest strength. No. So I really shouldn't be spending a lot of my time and energy and resources on me doing that. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to find somebody where Canva is in their zone of genius, where they actually love doing it and their strengths align with that. Then the next level we just talked about last week. No, this week is the zone of excellence. The zone of excellence. I'm getting my zones confused. So we talked about the zone of incompetence. Then we went up the ladder to the zone of competence. And today I want to chat with you about the zone of excellence. I'm curious. I'm going to just ask you all, what would you say is the zone of excellence? What does that mean? So it's the zone of incompetence. Then we go up to competence. Then we go to excellence. And then the zone of genius. What would you say is in your zone of excellence? What's something that's in your zone of excellence? I like to think about the zone of excellence as something that I'm darn good at. I mean, I'm like really, really, really good at. And if I think about it and I ask myself, would, if I were doing this for 10 years straight, would I be still excited about it? Would I say it's still something that I'm darn good at? Would it make me jump out of bed and be excited to go and do it? And is it fully aligned with what I believe are my strengths and my purpose on this planet? That's how I define it. But I want to hear from you all. What would you say is in your zone of excellence? So I tell you, okay, thank you. Coach Corinne says, where you're skilled and it comes naturally. Yes, you're good at it, you're skilled at it, it comes naturally, right? You don't have to do a whole lot of preparing, maybe, to actually do it. And so now I want to know, give me some examples of what would be in your zone of excellence, and I'll share one of mine. So here's the thing about me. My the things that are in my zone of excellence and that are also in my zone of genius, they go back and forth. They go back and forth. So sometimes things that are in my zone of excellence moves up to my zone of genius. Why is that? Well, oftentimes it's because I become more skilled at it. I've grown to love it more. Okay. And sometimes things that were in my zone of genius, like those things that just make you purr, like you certainly do it naturally. I kind of relate to zone of genius as like I was anointed to do this work. So what's in my zone of genius is coach training. I'm telling you, when I am there and I'm with those coaching students, I get so very excited. Same thing for mentoring. So mentor coaching would be in my zone of genius. In my zone of excellence, one of the things that kind of hovers back and forth between excellence and genius for me is coaching. Coaching. Not any kind of coaching, but one-on-one coaching. So am I darn good at one-on-one coaching? Well, just go ask my clients or look at my website and look at those testimonials. So yes, I would say I'm very good at it. I love the work. I love the work. And sometimes what has happened over time is that, yes, I still love it. I feel it's a part of my purpose on this planet to support people with moving their goals forward, to actually designing the lives that they desire. I work with wonderful, wonderful executives around those things. Does it still call me forth? Absolutely. And at the same time, where I have grown, I'll say it that way, along the journey of my coaching career, is that I've come to enjoy other types of coaching. So I still enjoy one-on-one coaching, and I really enjoy team coaching, and I really enjoy group coaching. So it's not that one-on-one coaching is something that I don't like. I still like it. I love it. Love it. And like I said, over time, my skills have grown, my interest has changed. And also, I believe the divine has called me forth to actually pay attention to and participate in and offer more team coaching. Team coaching. I would say team coaching is now it's in my zone of genius. So, okay, let me check in really quickly. I want to hear from you all. What would you say is in your zone of excellence? Zone of excellence. Okay. Anaya says her zone of excellence is talking. All right. So she's like really, really good at it, right? You're really, really good at it. Again, you're really, really good at it. And this is something that was surprising to me. And then I want to check in on some other comments. This is something that was really surprising to me in the research that we did around these different zones. And Gay Hendricks, the author of The Big Leap, says that in your zone of excellence, yes, you're really good at it, but he invites us to pay attention to Are you sticking with that task, that career, whatever it is, simply because it's comfortable? Ooh, did I push a button? I wouldn't be Coach Sophia Casey if I didn't. So I want you to think about it like that, right? Is it something that, yes, you're great at, you have strengths in those areas, but you're really kind of hanging out over there, maybe even hiding because it's comfortable. It's in your comfort zone. So let me check again. Let's see. Corinne says asking pertinent questions so the clients find the answers within themselves. Ooh, Corinne, you're making me purr. Purr. Yes, Coach Corinne, absolutely. So she says what's in her zone of excellence, what she's really good at. She's naturally good at it, right? It sounds like you have strengths in that area, would be asking those pertinent questions. And in our coach training school at ICLI Rising, we're always talking about asking powerful, predominantly open-ended questions, and how asking those questions, open-ended questions predominantly, and certainly closed-ended questions too, could really support a client with getting more self-awareness, can give them time to process and take a look. So questions are, I feel like asking questions is one of our most powerful tools. All right, thank you, Coach Corinne. I'm just checking in again. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Drainy says, oh, and you do it so well. That is amazing. Well, I received that. I received that. Thank you so much. All right, checking in again. Okay, so Corinne says, nope, we need to continue to grow and change. And now she says she's moving into writing. Okay, Corinne, thank you for saying that. So she says, it's not necessarily, it sounds like you're not necessarily committed to staying in that zone of excellence, okay, around asking the pertinent questions and supporting clients in that way. Please help me if I'm wrong. I may be getting it off track. So let's see. She says, continue to grow and change, and she's moving into writing. So I would love to know how you feel about writing. How do you feel about writing? Do you feel like it's in your zone of excellence, like you're good at it, you have the strength in it? Or do you feel like it's in your zone of genius, like you would literally jump out of bed and when you're writing, time just seems to pass by? I'm very curious. Now, Corinne, I got to know. Okay. So I want to share some other things with you also. Give me just a moment. And that'll give you some time to put some more answers in the chat. What is in your zone of excellence? Now, of course, I can't wait to talk to you about zone of genius, but zone of excellence, right? So again, one of the things that Gay Hendricks talks about, that was really surprising to me because I'm like, what's wrong with staying at the zone of excellence? The word does say excellence. So why wouldn't we stay there? And I have it that there's nothing wrong with us staying and sticking with things that are in our zone of excellence. There's nothing wrong. Okay, so let me talk to the saboteurs that we all have. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with staying in your zone of excellence, but I am inviting you to take a look. Am I staying there? Am I continuing to be in that career or continuing to do that work? Continuing to be in that relationship because it's in my zone of excellence. It's comfortable, right? And what could be possible if you invited yourself to take a look? And what could be possible if you invited yourself to stretch outside of that comfort zone and explore what would be in my zone of genius, where I am like perfectly aligned for this work, for this in this relationship, like what I'm doing, what I'm pursuing in life, it's perfectly aligned with who I know myself to be. I want to know. All right. Also, I wanted to share with you that Gay Hendricks also talks about, again, it's nothing wrong with being in your zone of excellence. But sometimes we stay in that zone of excellence because it's safe. How many times, and coaches, I know you've heard this. How many times have you heard your clients, and I would even say leaders, how many times have you heard people on your team or your peers complain about where they are, complain about their career, complain about the work that they're doing, right? And sometimes it makes me curious, like, ooh, I wonder what has you stay there, right? Not to make my client wrong. I'm never trying to make my client or anybody wrong. But I do love asking those pertinent questions, like Coach Corinne said. So I just want you to get curious. Like, if you really take a look and what you're doing and what you've committed to day in and day out is in your zone of excellence merely because it's safe, but it doesn't bring you that ultimate joy. Like when I like I said before, when I am leading coach training, when I am mentor coaching, sometimes I honestly feel like I am levitating. Like sometimes I'm like, can this get any better? Can this really get any better? Sometimes I've been asking myself, like, is this really my job? Is this my job? And because it feels that great, it feels that aligned with who I am. Now, it didn't always feel that way because I worked in some other coach training schools many years ago. And sometimes, because of the methodology that we used, that we adopted for that school, sometimes it didn't quite fit for me to bring all of myself. Are you all tracking with me? And then when I started my own coach training school, I made a decision. I said, when I'm actually training, when I'm providing coach training to all these amazing coaches, and we've graduated well over 100 of them, when I'm providing the training, I want to bring all of me and all of myself. And I want to bring my 100 authentic self. And when I made that decision, so I'll say in the other coach training schools I worked for, I love working for these other schools. They're phenomenal, phenomenal. I would say I probably brought about 80% of myself. There's nothing wrong with 80, right? But when I was bringing about 80% of myself, that meant coach training was in my zone of excellence. I was darn good at it. So, what's the difference between that and now? Now I am bringing 100% of myself. And now I actually feel like literally I was anointed to do this work. I actually was birthed to grow up one day and actually become a coach trainer, to become a mentor coach. Because when I'm doing those things, it literally, again, it feels like an out of body experience. And our graduates can tell you this, they can attest to this. Graduation day, there is not a dry eye in the room because it's that much joy, it's that much connection, it's that much spirituality that's in the space. And I'm grateful that I have a hand in co-creating that. And the way that I'm able to co-create that, the way that the students experience our coach training program, to have them go tell their managers, go tell their colleagues, go tell their friends and family members, go tell people that they love and care about our coach training school, is because they've experienced it too. And I believe that is the power of operating in our zone of genius. Now I'm going to go a little deep. Can I go a little deep with you just for a moment? Okay. I know a lot of people, a lot of us are experiencing a lot of change right now. And I happen to live in the US. So, of course, my lens is painted from the US point of view. I know there are lots of changes. I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of my former federal government colleagues because I was a public servant for a very long time. And I just want to offer to you to consider. I know as challenging as it is, maybe even as painful as this time is, change can be painful, right? I just want to offer to you that possibly this is an opportunity. I know. Wait, I better duck so you don't throw something at me. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out. I was struggling with this too. But I started to think, and I actually started to ask, what could be the opportunity or opportunities in this space right now? And one of the things that came to me, also, I saw a lot of during the pandemic, and that is people started to really take a look. They started to take a look at their careers. They started to take a look at their lives. They started to ask themselves some of those open ended questions like, what do I want? What about this makes me jump out of bed and get excited? They started to ask questions like, is this really in my zone of genius? I have the wonderful honor to support executives around and senior managers around their careers. I love doing that as an executive coach. Um, and one of the conversations or one of the themes that keeps coming up in the last month or a couple months, I should say, has been around this soul searching. Like, is this me? When I come to this, am I able to bring or am I bringing my 100% authentic self? Does this fuel me? So I'm just encouraging you, inviting you to just ask yourself some open-ended, powerful questions in hopes that you might get some self-awareness. So the self-awareness or the answer could be, oh yes, this is in my zone of genius. I'm good. I'm staying right here. The answer could also be like, well, I'm not sure. And so that's an invitation for you to keep asking, keep asking, keep being curious. I love the now 5 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Anybody familiar with the 5 agreements? Forever it was the 4 agreements, right? And he has of course a book, the 4 agreements, and he has a book, the 5 agreements. But I was really mesmerized when he added, Don Miguel Ruiz added a fifth agreement, which is to question everything. Question everything. And what that says to me is I've been given permission to get curious about my zone of excellence, to get curious about, is this actually in my zone of genius or is it not? Is this actually in my zone of competence? And I'm really just sitting here being comfortable, but I don't even really like it. Is it in my zone of incompetence? And I could better serve myself and my business and my team by having someone take over that task, that project, because it's in their zone of genius. So I'm just encouraging you to get curious, and what? Get curious. All right, let me check in with you because I know I have to wrap up. It is so hard to close out with you all every Tuesday because I just love the conversations that we have. And thank you all. I know some of you have been sending me some topics that you want me to talk about. So in several weeks, I'm going to start talking and sharing with you around the ICF core competencies. That's been asked for quite a bit, and I promise it's coming. So let me just check in. Let's see. Oh, wow. Coach Corinne says for her, she says, for me, it's obedience to the Holy Spirit. Woo, Coach Corinne, could we talk? I think we should. We should get together. We should have, I don't drink coffee, so I won't say a coffee chat, but we should have a tea chat. I would love to talk to you about that. That is how I feel when I'm leading coach training. That is how I feel when I'm mentoring coaches. It honestly does feel like that. All right, so let's see. Check it back in. Thank you, Malik, for putting this in the chat. He said, when you do what you love, you feel the love flow into you. All right, Mr. Malik. Malik is always dropping gems. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to go back up because I know I missed some. I missed some. Let's see. Anaya says zone of excellence, the third of four of the competency levels. Yes. So I want to hear. So I know, Anaya, you said what's in your zone of excellence is talking. So, I want to know more about that. I want to know more about that. All right. I'm just backing up, making sure I check in with you. All right. Sharna, thank you, Sharna. Sharna is a member of our amazing team. Sharna said, my zone of genius is nurturing. Purr. And I'm a living witness to that. I've actually witnessed that, Sharna. Thank you. Doesn't it feel great to know what your zone of genius is and what's in your zone of excellence and paying attention to what's in your zone of competence or your zone of incompetence? It really can be a great measuring stick for us. It could be a great measuring stick for us. So I'm going to challenge you all to ask yourself, to consistently ask yourself, when you're about to take on something, you're getting ready to say yes to something, I want you to just pause for a moment and ask yourself, what zone is this in for me? Before you say that yes, to ask yourself, is this in my zone of incompetence? I almost started doing something today that was in my zone of incompetence. I'm like, no, Sophia, leave that alone. No, you're just going to waste a whole lot of time, right? Ask yourself, is this in my zone of competence? Yeah, I'm good at it, but I'm maybe not great at it. Is this in my zone of excellence? I'm darn good at this, but I'm really playing it safe. It's not what I truly desire. And if I could wave a magic wand, I would be doing fill in the blank. Or is this in my zone of genius where I feel it is perfectly aligned with my strengths, my values, who I believe I was created to be on this planet? It's completely aligned and definitely has me want to jump out of bed, and definitely time passes when I'm doing it. Will you ask yourself those questions? All right. Thank you all so much for being with me. I just appreciate you so much. I love coming here. I love coming here every Tuesday. Now, next Tuesday, you're actually in for a treat because somebody will be on leave. Somebody is going to go spend another way of being in her zone of genius. All right. So, but I have something very special for you and you don't want to miss it. So make sure you turn on the notifications. So go to my profile here on LinkedIn, turn on notifications so that you're notified when I do go live and when that special treat comes to you next week. I look forward to talking to you about our final zone, the zone of genius, in just a little while. So you don't want to miss that. And as I said earlier, my next series of conversations is going to be around the International Coaching Federation, ICF core competencies, the ICF core competencies. And with that, go be good to each other. Be good to each other. And most importantly, be good to yourself. Ciao.